Imagine you're walking along Miami Beach, Florida, and you spot an elderly man wearing a red fedora and wire-rimmed glasses. He seems like any other person you might pass on the street. Unremarkable, easily forgotten. But what if I told you this man is worth billions of dollars? What if I told you that this man who started out as a simple optometrist is now one of the most successful yet unknown investors in the world? Join us as we meet Herbert Wertheim, a man whose life story is nothing short of extraordinary. Herbert Wertheim was born in 1939, right before the start of World War II. His parents were Jewish immigrants who had fled Nazi Germany and settled in Philadelphia. Life wasn't easy for the Wertheim family. In 1945, when Herbert was just 6 years old, they moved to Hollywood, Florida, where they opened a small bakery. The family lived in a modest apartment right above their shop, scraping by to make ends meet. As a child, Herbert struggled in school. He had dyslexia, a condition that wasn't well understood at the time. In those days, children like Herbert weren't given the support they needed. Instead, they were labeled as dumb. Herbert described his school years as incredibly tough. By the time he was a teenager in the 1950s, Herbert's life at home wasn't much better. He had a difficult relationship with his father, who was often abusive. Feeling trapped, Herbert began skipping school and running away from home. But eventually, Herbert's absences caught up with him, and at 16, he found himself standing before a judge on charges of truancy. The judge gave Herbert two choices. He could either go to a state reformatory or join the US Navy. For Herbert, the choice was clear. At just 17 years old, he enlisted in the Navy and was sent to San Diego. In the Navy, Herbert was regularly tested for his abilities, and to his surprise, he excelled, especially in mechanics and organization. For the first time in his life, Herbert felt smart, and this newfound confidence led him to study physics and chemistry. He soon found himself working in naval aviation, where he began investing his modest Navy stipend into stocks, particularly in the aerospace industry. This was a time of rapid economic growth in the United States. The country was finally recovering from the Great Depression. Stocks were on the rise, and Herbert made his first significant investment in a company called Learjet, then known as Lear Incorporated. This company was a pioneer in aerospace instruments and electronics, and Herbert had the chance to meet its founder, Bill Lear, during a visit to a Sikorsky aircraft factory. Impressed by Lear's innovations, Herbert decided to invest in the company. After his time in the Navy, Herbert's entrepreneurial spirit didn't fade. He took up various odd jobs, even selling encyclopedias door to door. But his hunger for knowledge led him to Brevard Community College, where he studied engineering, and later to the University of Florida. Though he never completed his engineering degree, Herbert found a new passion: the human eye. While working at NASA, where he helped improve instrumentation for manned space flights, Herbert became fascinated by vision technology. This interest led him to pursue a degree in optometry at the Southern College of Optometry in Memphis. After graduating, he returned to South Florida and opened his own optometry practice, serving mostly working-class patients. But Herbert wasn't just content with practicing optometry, he was an inventor at heart. He spent his evenings in his small laboratory, tinkering with ideas that could improve vision technology. In 1969, his efforts paid off when he invented an eyeglass tint for plastic lenses that filtered out harmful UV rays, helping to prevent cataracts. His invention came at the perfect time, as the Vietnam War was fueling a high demand for plastic lenses. Herbert struck a deal to sell his tint, but a series of contract disputes left him without the $22,000 he was promised. In 1970, Herbert founded Brainpower Inc., a technology consulting firm where he could develop and market his inventions. Just 1 year later, Herbert made another breakthrough. He developed a chemical formula that could remove tints from plastic lenses, returning them to their original clear state. He mixed this neutralizer in a coffee can and showed it to his wife, Nicole, telling her, "This is going to make us millionaires." And he was right. Brain Power Inc. quickly became one of the largest optical tint manufacturers in the world, selling products to giants like Zeiss, Bausch & Lomb, and Polaroid. Over the years, Brainpower Inc. expanded its offerings to include cleaners, lab equipment, and other accessories for optometrists and ophthalmologists. Herbert's inventions also had practical applications. For example, his tints were used to ease the symptoms of disorders like epilepsy and migraines. With over 100 patents to his name, Herbert's company now generates an annual net income of around $10 million. But Herbert's success wasn't just about inventing, it was also about smart investing. He spent 12 hours a week reading patents, using his knowledge as an inventor to evaluate companies' potential. Some of his most successful investments include IBM, 3M, and Intel. His strategy is simple, yet profound. If you like something at $13 a share, you should like it at $12, $11, or $10 a share. If a stock continues to go down and you believe in it and did your research, you buy more. This approach has paid off handsomely. For example, Herbert has held Microsoft stock since 1986, and it's now worth over $160 million. He also bought Apple stock in 1980 and doubled down when the price dropped in the 1990s. Today, his Apple holdings are worth $195 million. Of course, not every investment has been a winner. Herbert knows when to cut his losses, usually selling a stock if it drops by 25%. He learned this lesson the hard way with BlackBerry, a stock he eventually had to abandon as its value plummeted. One of Herbert's key strategies is to invest in companies with strong management. He looks for leaders who are innovative and determined, like Lawrence Mendelsohn, who turned the struggling aerospace company HEICO into a thriving business. When HEICO expanded its product range and Lufthansa acquired a minority stake, its stock price skyrocketed, turning Herbert's $5 million investment into $800 million. Today, in his 80s, Herbert enjoys spending time with his family and traveling the world on the World, the largest luxury residential ship on Earth. But he hasn't slowed down when it comes to investing. He's still actively buying stocks, including BP's hydrogen fuel cells and General Electric, whose patents for 3D printing engine parts excite him. Through his investments and inventions, Herbert Wertheim has not only amassed a fortune, but has also used it to make the world a better place. Subscribe to Truth, revealed to stay intrigued and informed.